Hello, good morning, and all that jazz from Rugby Heartland's little studio. And a good morning to Mike Sheehan. How are you?
Good morning, mate. Yeah, I'm doing good. How you going?
Oh, not too bad. We're all getting to the pointy end of the stick, as they say, here in New Zealand with the Super Rugby and starting to sharpen the stick with our rep season just around the corner. As said before, we'll be highlighting teams. This week it's South Canterbury and the awesome Poverty Bay chain strip. Not their normal white one, but their, it's quite a cool one, I thought. So we'll give them a shout out because we'll talk about them later on in the show. But today's show's a bit of a different concept for us, eh? We'll talk all about Super Rugby and then we'll change the channels and talk about New Zealand rep rugby. How's that sound?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, so what we'll do is if you have any questions about our bullshit speaking, throw them in the comments and we'll throw them up. But hey, we'll kick straight into it. And it's the Super Rugby. And last week, we only took me 14 rounds to get 100% correct on the Super Brew tipping comp. I thought to myself, Christ, I must have had one round. But no, I always dropped one game every round. And it was starting to really frustrate me. But we'll kick off with that Hurricanes Highlanders game. I'm guessing you were a bit gutted by that.
Yeah, well, that was a game that I was expecting the Highlanders to win, and they probably could have won it, but step up Cam Roigard and they got the winning try into the sticks and broke the Highlanders' hearts.
Yeah, I know. And the other thing is too, with what's been going on is the can we just get rid of these bloody Marvel jerseys?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of them either.
I mean, we'll mention it again. They missed the boat with the Hurricanes. They should have had, if they were going to do that, they should have had Wolverine. But I tell you what, I know of at least one avid rugby fan in New Zealand who will no longer watch Super Rugby mainly because of that. And it has actually turned off a lot of people. Sure, the kids love it and all that, but the kids don't put their hand in their pocket to go and buy these particular jerseys. And, it's sort of like, it just makes you want to cringe. I was really hoping the Highlanders would have come out in their blue jerseys, which would have forced the change. Sure, they sold the jerseys off for charity and all that sort of stuff, but, it's sort of like, I don't know. It confounds me. I mean, we're not English football where we need 25 kits a season. You know what I mean? They had the Marvel round, and now we're still seeing it. So I don't know. But anyhow, I was really happy that the Hurricanes got up and won. That gave them the magic 30 points required. Well, so they say, the experts, to be in the top six. But then the Waratahs, well, yeah, they've sort of gone by the wayside. They started off with a hiss and a roar, but the Crusaders were just absolutely dominant, I thought, in that game. It was a bit wet, but Crusaders are looking the goods, but they threw away that chance with about a minute to go top of the table by conceding you could say, an easy try to the Waratahs.
Yeah, that was a clinical performance from the Crusaders. I think they pretty much ended the Waratahs' hopes, but the Waratahs haven't been going good for a couple of games now. Obviously, Johnny McNichol brought up his 50 games and grabbed a meat pie, so that was good to see. But yeah, there needs to be some soul searching in the Waratahs camp, I think, and there needs to be some changes for next year.
Yeah, no, totally. I mean, what were we calling them at the start of the season? The Warra Rebels. So, I mean, it's worked for the Reds and all that, picking up the odd one, but it looks like they must have got the cream of the crop. So then we went over to Lautoka, 9 in a row at home at Lautoka for the Fijian Drua. They demolished, they annihilated the Force. They blew them off like a wet sail, didn't they?
Yeah, good to see them back at their fortress in Churchill Park in front of their faithful. I thought the fourth would have put up more of a fight than what they did, but Fiji just blew them away. Sepe Marcy back and got a try. Good to see him back on the side. But yeah, that's probably the end of their campaign now. But they went out on a high in front of their fans, so which is good to see.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about this next game, the Pacifica Blues, in just a second. But because there were a few highlights from that game, which we can't show. But even though a week later, Sky TV say, "Oh, we're letting your video go live," it's like, "Oh, just let us go live." You want us to show, recordings of games and stuff. So can you stop blocking every time we show it? It's really, and then wait a week and then let us show it. It doesn't make sense to me. But Moana Pacifica, huge win over the Blues, 27-21. Got a lot more to say about that. So we'll just kick straight into the Brumbies and the Reds. And the Brumbies, well, yeah, nailed that one at home. The Reds, just like, to me, they weren't in it at all, were they, in Canberra?
No, they weren't. I thought Fraser McWright and Tate McDermott were the stars of the show for the Reds, but as for the Brumbies, yeah, that was a good win. I thought Lonergan and Meredith was a good combo at 9 and 10. They're obviously trying different things. And Rob Bellatini at the breakdown was his usual strong self, and it was good to see Joe Schmidt and the crowd having a look.
Yeah, well, it was, and of course, on top of all of that, how much is Loisio going to be a loss to Aussie rugby when he goes to Japan? And after Donaldson's performance, I'm sure he played. Did he play against Drua? I think he did. Yeah, he didn't really do himself any favours in that defeat to the Drua. But if we have a quick look at the table, and of course, we've got the Aussies back on top with the Brumbies there on 43. The Chiefs, who had the bye, they're on 41. And the Crusaders, well, they could have been in second because the Brumbies would have overtaken them, even with the bonus point to the Crusaders. And the Reds, well, they're still sitting pretty. To me, they're actually acting a bit like Liverpool Football Club now. They know they're in the top 6. They can't really get knocked out unless they have a shocker next couple of games. And if you look at this morning's result from England, Brighton 3, Liverpool 2. They haven't won a game since they won the championship. You know what I mean? It's like they've gone on holiday already. So let's just hope. They'll be wanting to sort of be up there for a home quarter final. The Hurricanes, of course, sitting there pretty on 30, and Pacifica, based on wins, they go ahead of the Blues on 28 points respectively. And then, of course, as we've already mentioned, the Waratahs, Force, Drua, and Highlanders, well, they could just be spoilers for the next couple of weeks. So it's starting to take shape, and it's just that middle bit there, really, we've got to keep an eye on. I mean, the Waratahs, they've got the Force away in Perth this week, and then they finish off their campaign at home to the Blues. So that if they can beat them this week, that game against the Blues is pretty much a quarter final to get into that top 6 maybe. So, but as I said, we were going to chat about other stuff. I mean, make him literally Artie Savia, Scott Robinson come out in the media today. Make him the captain of the All Blacks for the next 3 years. No disrespect to Scotty Barrett, but how can you not put this guy? I mean, 2 rounds to go and nobody can catch him. The closest is Tom Hooper, who's 11 points away. You only get 3 points for a, best and fairest. I mean, he is just a beast, isn't he? What can we say about Artie?
Oh, he's probably the best loose forward running around in New Zealand at the moment, and quite possibly one of the best loose forwards in the world. His performances are just unreal. He motivates his team, he motivates people around him, and he gets the best out of his mates. And he's a asset to Moana Pacifica, and he's going to be an asset to the All Blacks come France. And hopefully we can get Duplessis, Kirifi, Wallace Atiti, and Artie Savia, and the All Blacks team together, I think that'd be an unreal loose ball combo.
Oh, it would be absolutely sort of crazy. I mean, it's just, I mean, everyone sort of looked at Artie going to Moana from the Hurricanes, to join his brother Julian and stuff like that. And people were going, huh? And I thought, well, yeah, okay. One man doesn't make a team. Man, has he proved me wrong. Rugby Database came out. He has now won 46% of... He's played in 46% of all of Moana Pacifica's victories in history. He's only played 18% of their games, I mean,
yeah.
If there's a guy that should be running for president, if we had one, he'd win in a landslide right now, wouldn't he?
Yeah, and if there was someone that I would make a sir for services to sport, he'd be one of them.
Well, good morning, Clarence. And as he said, anything can happen. Well, you never know, because I'll tell you what, as soon as if they do make the playoffs, well, he'll be going home to a rapturous celebration back at the islands when they all go up there and visit in the off season. But then, of course, we can't even not go by. But 1-7 Reese, unwanted by the Chiefs, unwanted by Waikato, moved down to Canterbury, and now he is sitting pretty on top of the table with TJ Perenara and Julian Savia, only a couple tries behind, on 65 tries. Are we going to see him do the business on Friday night and become the all-time try scorer in Super Rugby?
Yep, I think he's capable of scoring a couple more tries in that game. He's an outstanding rugby player, and he's not afraid to get involved. Like he's all over the park. He's in the rucks. He's looking for work, which is one of the attributes of a good outside back.
Yeah, well, the other thing is too, you look at that list and you go, Israel Folau, okay, he got 60 tries, but 99% of them were against Australian teams. But let's throw our minds back a couple of decades now, shall we? Doug Howlett, he's still sitting there in the top 5 on 59 tries. I mean, how did we and that was against South African teams as well. So, I mean, just goes to show how awesome Doug Howlett was back in the day.
Yeah, Doug Howlett, he's a legend from days gone by, but obviously he's been overtaken now by Sevi Reese and Perenara and co. So, but it's still good to see his name on the list.
Oh, totally. So anyway, we just kick straight into it. Friday night, and I'm going to guess, I think I know where you're going to go on this one, but we've got the Crusaders kicking off against the Highlanders. I'm just going to say it. I think the poor old Highlanders are in for a hiding. And I know you will disagree.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see the Highlanders win this, but I think the Crusaders be too good. The Crusaders die for 15 at least.
Yeah, I mean, of course, we won't see the teams until tomorrow, but it's sort of like the Highlanders. I know the Highlanders are made up of journeymen. We must recognise that fact. They get the dregs of who's left, but they started off quite well. I was expecting a lot from Jamie Joseph and the coaching squad, but they, injuries, silly suspensions just haven't gone their way in 2025. But is there anything you've seen from the Highlanders that is going to make 2026 better for them?
Probably more players, or hopefully Michael Manson.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean,
yeah, I don't know. They'll do obviously do a review on the off season and see where things went wrong and where things can improve, I guess. But it's been a disappointing season for the Highlanders, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I was sort of sitting back and thinking, okay, they're going okay. And then literally, as I said, they have been wrecked by injuries and silly suspensions, namely Sean Withy's dumb bloody tackle. But yeah, so, okay, so I'm going Crusaders. Are you going to stick with your Highlanders to upset?
Yeah, I'd like to, but I can't see it.
Okay. All right. So we're both going the Crusaders there. All right. So then we head across the ditch to Suncourt Stadium with the Reds taking on the fourth place Reds taking on the fifth place Hurricanes. And wow, it is literally a must win for both teams to go into the final week with the what do you call it? Quarterfinals locked in. I think this could end up being a boomer of a match, but I've noticed over the last few weeks the weather in Aussie's been a bit wet.
Yeah, it has. It hasn't been ideal for playing rugby, has it? I'm expecting the Hurricanes to win and win convincingly, I think.
Yeah?
Yep.
I might have to have a look at what time did that come up? 17 minutes and 20 seconds into the show. I might have to cut that out and replay that. Mike Sheehan saying, go the Hurricanes. All righty. So, yeah, no, I think the Canes will do it. They would have learned a lot after last week's game against the Highlanders. I mean, I suppose you've got to give them credit. I mean, half the team were down with COVID, even though apparently COVID doesn't exist anymore. But, yeah, so I think being back to full fitness, I thought Cameron had a great game last week, coming back into it after his ACL injury. And so, yeah, so I'll go the Canes as well. So we're 2 from 2. We'll just have a quick look at the comments while he's coming back. And Clarence is also, so there you go, the people watching the show, we're 3 and 3. Clarence is saying Hurricanes by far. I'm amazed Captain Hurricane, Mr. Werder, hasn't popped up on the screen yet because he'll be just loving the way the Canes are playing rugby at the moment. So anyway, then we head over to Saturday at FMG Stadium. We've got the Chiefs taking on Moana Pacifica. It is Damien McKenzie versus the player of the year, Adi Savia. Can they do it? That's the question on everyone's lips. Can Moana knock off another New Zealand franchise?
Well, if they can, there's going to be a huge party in North Harbour. But, yeah, this is going to be a doozy, this game. I'm going to go the Chiefs by 8.
Well, just so we can mix it up, because it is a short round with the buys this week, I'll go Moana Pacifica. I'll stick with them. They'll be absolutely buzzing. They've only got to go down the motorway. It's another home game for them, pretty much. And it'll be interesting to see how many Moana Pacifica fans drive down the motorway to Hamilton as well. I think it will be a boomer game. And, of course, the weather we've had, hopefully it'll be a nice dry night because, I mean, we're only, a week away from officially winter. And so hopefully we'll get a good night. And, yeah, I just think, I suppose my question is, are we going to see a third stellar performance in a row from Adi Savia? I mean, he's done it 2 weeks in a row now, absolutely dominated his opposition.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about having a fanboy obsession with this guy, but, or are they going to rest him? That's the thing. Will they rest him to prevent him getting injured in a game against something like the Chiefs?
They may choose to rest him, but they will probably play him, I'd say.
Or bring him on in the second half because, I mean, their final game is against the Hurricanes next week. And, of course, the Hurricanes will be coming out firing to reverse that result from the start of the season. Clarence is reckoning a draw, but, we do have draws. We've seen them before this year, first time in about 50,000 games. No, I'll go Moana Pacifica to win by 6. There we go. A late try. Set up with a chip kick through from Adi Savia to Kiran Tamafuli. Ow. Apologies if I got his name absolutely butchered. But, to Kiran on the wing. There you go. So, yeah. And then, of course, after that match, we head over to Perth. These times, of course, are New Zealand times if you're watching from overseas. That's 9:30 over there in Perth. The Western Force will be rounding out their season. It's their last game because they've got the bye next week. And the Waratahs, well, it's just like playing for pride here, isn't it? Who's going to finish above whom on the table?
Yeah. Last game for the Waratahs. The Force could probably upset them, I think, and go out on a high. But anything's possible. Knowing my luck, the Waratahs will probably smash them.
Well, I think I would go with the Force. I mean, they've had a good, even though they're at the bottom of the table. They've had some awesome scalps this year. They beat the Brumbies for the first time in over, as they love to say nowadays, in over 5,500 days ever at Canberra. They are celebrating their 20th. I think final game against an old foe, the Waratahs, you could call them. I'm going to go the Force to win by 10.
Yeah, I'm going to pick. Yeah, I'll pick the Force for the upset by 8.
Okay, so we have got a couple of little differences there going into it. And, of course, this week we've got the byes to the Blues, to the Drua, and to the Brumbies. We'll see them again next week when the Brumbies host the Crusaders over there in Canberra. That's a doozy to look forward to, isn't it? The Blues will be taking on the Waratahs. The Canes will be taking on Moana Pacifica. And the Reds will be hosting the Fiji Drua. So if Fiji can get their act together, they could upset the apple cart a little bit by beating the Reds next week. I mean, they've had a week off now. I suppose it's a bit hard to say how the Drua will go on the road because I think they're up to about, game 17 now without a win?
Yep.
Yeah. Clarence is going against us. He's going to say the Waratahs. So, well done, Clarence. So, and that's about it with the Super Rugby stuff because, as I said, so that was, 23 and a half minutes. Is there anything else about Super Rugby that we need to talk about? I don't think so. I think we can just look forward to another awesome weekend. Short round again with only I suppose we could say this. There has come out that people are saying bring back the South Africans. Part of me goes yes, but then I say bugger them. They wanted to bugger off to Europe and dominate there, which they haven't done. They still haven't won the European Championship there, well, the European Cup. And then with all this word about a super team expansion from the west coast of the USA, why not just bring in, I don't know, another an Asian team, a team from Singapore or a team from Hong Kong?
Bring back the Natal Sharks.
I love the Natal. They're my favourite South African team, the Natal Sharks. I've even got a couple of their jerseys. Yeah,
they've done some wonderful things.
Yeah, but anyway, that is our bleat about the Super Rugby. I think it's about time we change the channel. What do you reckon?
Yep.
Okay. this is what rugbyheartland.co.nz is all about. It's the rep season. We're almost there. Mike, how are you feeling about it?
Yeah, good. Yep, just about finished. We've got a few more games down here for our boys, and then we're into Heartland. So, yep, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah. No, well, I tell you what, breaking news, literally in the last 10 minutes, Taranaki will have to do without Ricky Riccatelli. He's gone, Burger. He's on his way to, after playing 81 games for the Taranaki and 21 tries, which isn't too bad for a hooker. He's off to France. Yeah, what do you think about that move? I thought he must have had the nod from Mr. Robinson. See you later, but you won't be in the ABs.
Yeah, it's a big loss for New Zealand rugby and Taranaki rugby. He's a pretty good hooker. He's an exceptional hooker, actually. And obviously he's off to France to greener pastures, and I wish him well.
Yeah, no, so as I said, that only came out about 10, 20 minutes ago, that news out of the Taranaki. And then, of course, I know we're talking about rep season, but last weekend the Japanese played the New Zealand universities who are over in Japan for a 3-game tour there. And in a high-scoring game, Japan got up and won that by 52 points to 45. And the reason I'm saying that is because New Zealand universities are playing Japan tonight at 7 p.m. New Zealand time. We have been looking for, coverage, but haven't been able to come across it yet. So hopefully by tonight there may be coverage, and if there is, we'll share it on our channel. But the main reason we changed our channels, and I hope you like that little interlude halfway through the show, is we're here to talk about all the players. And then if we have a look at this team lineup today, there are a few names that do stand out for me here. We've got Liam Jack from Lincoln University, Josh Tuula out of Massey, George Reeves, he's played for Buller in the past, Julian Kariuki, I think he was out of, he's played for Manawatu off the top of my head. And at 9 and 10, we've got Mitch McLeod and Sam Coles. Some names we've seen around the Heartland and in the NPC. Jeremiah Assey from, he's played for Otago down there, but he's on the wing. Not a bad looking lineup. And then if we have a quick look at their reserves, see if any names jump out at us there. Any from your neck of the woods?
No, not what I can see.
Well, take a look at number 22. Mika Mualeani. Is that Mills's boy?
Possibly.
Yeah. So we're starting to see, the AB's children coming through the ranks, and we do wish the captain of Julian Kariuki and the rest of the team all the best against Japan. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. tonight, New Zealand time, so keep an eye on that. But then before we jump into anything, we have King Country squad. It is not. It is the squad for Taranaki to take on King Country that has been announced. I mean, how many players are they going to be choosing to play in this Ramfini Shield game?
Yeah, it's a big squad, isn't it? Obviously, that's their wider training squad, and that'll narrow down. But yeah, it's going to be a good game there.
It will be a good game, and at last count, there was over 5,000 pre-sold tickets. Pre-sold? No, they were free, but you still had to apply to get a ticket because this rugby park has had a full upgrade there with their new grandstand being built or being rebuilt after the Kaikoura earthquake, I think it was, where they were just about to open it and it got damaged. So they had to pull down the brand new grandstand and build a brand new one. So they'll be looking forward to kicking that off. But this game is won't be there. I think it's been played. Oh, can't even remember now where it was being played. but we'll come across that when it's nearer the time. God, I should have done my research on that one. West Coast. Well, Jared Mitchell and Troy Tafari have announced their squad, training squad, for their first one for the year after about 6 club games down there. The one that jumps out at me there is that Sean McClure is still running around the paddock. He's on about 98 games now for the Mitre of Red and White, and he's will be looking at notching up his century to become the 3rd centurion behind Maladi Mudu and Troy Tafari, who's now the assistant coach for the West Coast. But as you can see, there's only about 12 current players who have played for them before. Name jumped there, Joseph Tafari. I think that might be Troy's brother. Josh Tomlinson comes back after a bit of a stint overseas. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many of these 40 odd get whittled down and who gets replaced by the imports and player of origin. So at least these guys a bit of a shout out, and still waiting for other teams to arrive on the scene. We said we were highlighting South Canterbury today. Nigel Walsh has brought out his squad, initial training squad for the year. And do you want to run through a couple of these names that you know about?
Yeah, it's a pretty strong squad named by Nigel Walsh and Sean Breen and co. A couple of standout players. Anthony Amato's coming back. Toko Fakatava is in there. Clarence Moley, the barnstorming number 13. Mitchell Walsh, obviously Nigel's boy, is in there, which is good to see. Willie Wright is there. Obviously, they didn't have the services of Sam Briggs last year, so they'll be looking to fill the number 10 jersey. Miles Medlicott plays at club rugby for Waimate. He's a more than capable number 10, and Caleb McNo plays for Temuka, and I think he'd be more than capable in that position as well. And obviously, Zach Saunders brought up his 100 games not long ago for Celtic, so and he's back as well. So, but no, all in all, it looks like a very strong squad.
I have to say, it looks really, really dangerous. I mean, going from what West Coast have just announced, a 44-man training squad, and you look at this wider training squad for South Canterbury, and the names just, Kalavini Litatangi, Clarence Moley, the names, Miles Medlicott, as you said, Junior Fafe, Grayson Dale, Garrett Casey. This could easily be the Heartland squad, with a couple of the newbies being put aside, And that doesn't account for any imports they may be bringing in, So, I think they'll be wanting to get that championship back to Fraser Park, I think. It'll be an interesting side to watch, especially with the Hannon Shield against North Otago and your Mighty Hammers. A couple of weeks ago, we did mention Poverty Bay. That's why I'm wearing the Poverty Bay jersey. The coaches up there have named their squad for the traditional King's birthday weekend. A couple of names that jump out at me there is Tepehi Feely. He's played for both East Coast and Poverty Bay. We've got Nick Prophet there. There's a few new names there, but you look at Shade Scudder. He'll be leading the side again, I'm guessing. Kim Westrup. It's a good-looking team, but do you think they, literally spoke with Kahu over the weekend. He won't be announcing his East Coast side until probably the week of, which is quite ballsy. Keeping people on the fence about who's going to be in that team and the Sky Blues. But what do you think of this Poverty Bay squad?
Yeah, obviously I don't know a lot of names. Tepehi Feely, Shade Scudder and the Prophet Boys are probably the only ones I recognise from years gone by, but Obviously there's a lot of clubs up there for the coaches to pick from. With regards to East Coast, I think their club season got underway a bit later than everyone else, so they're probably willing to get a bit more, get around a few more games and trying to find some players. But if East Coast can bring back or keep some of their squad from last year, they'll be dangerous.
Yeah, well, a couple of little sort of house notes there. That East Coast are now part of the Chiefs region, and one player that may be back, and probably a bit of a, well, I wasn't told not to say anything, but Fletcher Carpenter may be back playing for East Coast this year. Currently, he's on 73 points in club rugby in the, what do you call it? Bay of Plenty club competition. So, so there are a few of the East Coast boys now applying their trade over in Bay of Plenty. And I'm sure that that's only going to make them a better, stronger squad as they move forward. So what else do we have there? Southern Region Development Squad. Yep, I told you we were going to be looking at it all. And, of course, this is courtesy of the Southern Rugby Facebook page. But the development squad, how good is it to see these guys getting a run around from places like Clutha and Crescent and Harriet and Lawrence and all that sort of stuff. Asmir Arul from Lawrence, that's a good Kiwi name. But it'll be, just goes to show you the depth that we do have here in New Zealand. In the smaller squads, because that's their development squad. We look at their proper premium team. Now, these guys play for, I think it's the White Horse Cup or something like that. And I did actually find I've got an old Otago 1920 rugby annual, and in that it actually mentions about the White Horse Cup, and apparently the visiting team is to get half of the gate takings, which is interesting, to cover travel costs. I wonder if they still do that. I don't know. But this is the team that will be playing all their rep season games. So that will be another good one to keep an eye out. And then we go to Wairarapa. They've announced Jamie Williams, new coach, originally from Old Boys University in Wellington. He's named quite a good squad there to play Central Hawke's Bay at King's birthday. One name that jumped straight out at me was the awesome return of one Lewis Bush, who's been playing his trade up in the Hawke's Bay in the recent years. Well, he was back last year, but was injured, and he will be making a bit of a comeback in the green and red for Wairarapa Bush this year. But there's some big names there. Marcus Alley, who used to play from a club at Johnsonville. Whoop, whoop. Go Marcus. Good to see you back. He had a major injury a couple of years ago with a broken leg, but hopefully he's all back and rearing to go. So they're the forwards. And then in the backs, well, there's one name there which is interesting. He's 35 years old now, and that's Charlie Brown, and he's ripping up the park all around the Wairarapa this season, scoring tries right, left, and centre. I think he scored a hat-trick in one game a couple of weeks ago. And then you've got Solly Malatai on the other wing. I think these guys are going to be it'll be interesting to see how they go. They should put aside Central Hawke's Bay up at Tiko Kino, I think it's called, a little country town in the Central Hawke's Bay. But that's going to be an interesting side to keep an eye on. And then we shoot back down south, and we've got Central Otago Development Squad. So I think they will be taking on the Southern team from memory. So you got Cromwell, Alexandra. It just goes again. What's your thoughts on the development down there in Central Otago? They've got enough players for a Heartland squad, have they not?
Yeah, no, it's good to see all these clubs like Clutha and Lawrence get together a development squad, and obviously we're looking at the Central Otago development squad. I think there might be 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. Obviously, Upper Clutha are the defending champions of that competition, and I think their coach got Coach of the Year just this year. So yeah, it's good to see. Rugby in Central Otago is looking really good. And yeah, there's a lot of quality players that come out of that region.
Yeah, well, because that was one team, and now they've got your main team, and of course, as you said, Upper Clutha, they're dominant there with what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 players. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of like you see that, and the same with the Southern. You see it also with teams like Ellesmere, North Canterbury. A lot of people have moved out of these big centres to the smaller country areas. And I'll just say again, is it time for them to bring in another couple of South Island Heartland teams?
Yeah, well, I'm not too sure about that. I'm sitting on the fence, but obviously you got included in that team. You got Matakanui, Combined, and Maniatoto from the Ranfurly area. And just a quick shout out to Dean Cinnamon, who's in that team. Plays this club rugby for Matakanui, and brought up 100 games a couple of weeks ago or last week. That's a good achievement for a country man out of a country club. But obviously the Cinnamon family is well known down in Central Otago. Predominantly in the horsing industry, the horse harness racing industry. But it's good to see Dean get 100.
Yeah, and the reason I do keep on going on about this is they do talk about cost, right? In New Zealand rugby at the moment, we've got 7 teams in the North Island and 5 in the South Island. So if they added another couple of teams to the South Island, you'd have 7 North, 7 South, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then teams can have a bye every other week to not hurt themselves. And that way there, you can just say, okay, the champion of the South plays the champion of the North for the Meads Cup. And the runners up from each division play off for the Lahore Cup.
Yep.
Easy. And most of them can probably travel to all their respective games by bus. You don't have to all jump into a super jet to fly from East Coast down to West Coast. You can still have your North and South battles, and it'll be New Zealand's version of Super Bowl, really, wouldn't it? You got the NFL, you got the AFL, yeah. So I mean, I still think that's the way New Zealand rugby should go to save some money. I know I talk sense, and I know no one will listen. But hey, I still think that's the way to go. We do have a comment that has popped up here. So here we go. South Canterbury and Mid Canterbury, they will bring in North Canterbury. What, combined? I don't think so. North Canterbury have far too much money. They just went on a seven game tour to Japan, and Clarence has said, and your Mid Canterbury will become East Canterbury or West Canterbury. How do you feel about that?
So obviously, North Canterbury are in their own competition at the end of the rep season. So their squad will be named in the coming weeks. Ellesmere play a couple of rep games at the end of their competition, and I wouldn't be surprised if their squad's not far from being announced either.
Yeah, well, just a heads up on that. Keep an eye on number 17 for the Ellesmere sub-union this year, because we might have to highlight the player quite a bit. That's all I can say at the moment, because it's not official, but hopefully it will be. So, Jamie, if you're watching this, I've sent you an email. But hey, there you go. You got a trophy.
What a fine looking jersey that is. Yeah, picked up Team of the Year at the Mid Canterbury Sports Awards the other night, which is great for the club and great for the union and great for Matt Winter and co to be recognised.
So was there any other teams in it for Sports Team of the Year?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, there was 3 or 4 teams in it, and obviously we should have a shout out to Fletcher Hobbs, who picked up an award as well. Obviously, he plays as rugby down here. He's represented the under-20s when they had that tournament up in wherever it was. Can't remember now, but yeah, he's a fine young sportsman, and he is heading for higher honours.
And apparently the coach is pretty good too. The coach of the year.
Yeah.
No, I haven't changed the photo. I haven't got the photo.
Yeah. He goes all right too.
Yeah, Nigel Walsh, congratulations. I know you watched the show, and congrats on that, and of course your team. But then, of course, if we have a look at your mob, had I think it was last week, wasn't it? Announced that the wider training squad, not as big as some of those other teams we've seen, but a few boys from your Southern. So good to see Adam Williamson and Callum Burrell still doing the business. Tom Middleton.
Yeah, no, it's not a bad squad actually. Obviously, there's a couple there from Hampstead and then Ellington in there as well. Southern, Fred Williamson brought up his 150 games for Southern. A couple of weekends ago at Darfield, and he has presentation up at Mayfield after we destroyed Springston last weekend. He's played 150 for Southern, and I think he's well over 50 for Mid Canterbury. So he'd be well over 200 games for the province. Callum Burrell, our inspirational skipper, is there. Tom Middleton, he's injured at the moment, but he'll be back next week. And Hugh Cameron, he's the bolter. He just started at 13 for us this year, but he was involved in the Canterbury. I'm not too sure whether it was the development side of things or the under 20s, but he's come out of that Canterbury, that strong Canterbury area. So really excited, and obviously you got Ratubi Vasarakuta, our big winger, back for another go. So looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just been, it's just like, we're at that sort of, okay, we've got the club season happening, and now we're getting these teasers of all these, what do you call them? Rep sides that we're seeing coming through. Are we going to, just looking at who's come through there and taking off your Hammers hat, any team jumping out at you now thinking that they've got a plan in place for 2025?
Yeah, Canterbury.
Yeah, I've just noticed my rugby check says 2024 above us on the thing. I better update that. I'm amazed someone hasn't brought that up. Who? Mid Canterbury?
South Canterbury.
South Canterbury. Yeah. I think South Canterbury are looking quite dangerous. It will be interesting to see what Wanganui do. I haven't seen anything out of Wanganui. Teams are plodding along quite nicely in the background. They're being very strategic, I suppose you could say. It'll be interesting to see what their first squad looks like, because, of course, they'll be wanting to defend again. But, I'm going to put on my Wairarapa Bush hat and say keep an eye out for them this year. New coach. He may bring in 2 or 3 guys out of the Wellington region as import players, because he's got a few connections over there. They've been disappointing by far over the last few years. New bosses at the top of the table. At the head of the table, shall I say. We even nicked yours from down Mid Canterbury with Tanya Derns, the new CEO there. I just got a feeling that, they've got to hit the ground running this year, Wairarapa Bush. And I think if they start well and they keep that team unity thing going, I think they could be a team to just keep a slight eye on as we move forward. So, any other parting questions?
No Ambrose Curtis this year for Wairarapa Bush.
Not yet, no. I mean, that squad that has been announced is based on, what do you call it? The club season. They will be looking at them. I can't see Ambrose being there myself, but they are going to be developing, and they're allowed to bring in 3 imports and a player of origin. So it'll be interesting to see who's where. Yeah, as I said, it is still early doors, as seems to be the saying nowadays around the traps. But yeah, I think it'll be a exciting year ahead in rep rugby, especially with all the talk about what's going on with possible changes in the wind. As I said, I'd like to see, okay, we had 30 odd, 40, 50 years ago, we had Division 2 South, Division 2 North. I'd love to see that back, because they've got to develop these games. But one thing I have noticed too, though, is, and this is a complete segue, World Sevens. Ireland have dumped the Irish Sevens team out of the World Series because, they said, we can't afford it. If we look at how the New Zealand Sevens team are going, sure, we got the bronze medal in the men's, and the girls are just always the girls, and the ladies will always be well played in that competition. But is it a sign of the times? Do you think New Zealand rugby will cut funding to the Sevens because of money?
Oh, I hope not.
Well, they cut all the competitions to find decent players. I mean, it's sort of, I don't know. I suppose it's one of those things we have to sit back and watch and wait and see. But anyway, any parting thoughts before we go off here? And thanks everyone for watching.
No, not really, mate. It's a fine day down here, so we'll get outside and enjoy the sun.
Yeah, it's going to be fine here too, apparently, for the next 2 or 3 days. So I'm looking forward to that. Keep an eye out on our sister channel at Virtual Rugby Heartland. There could be some exciting things showing up on there in the next few days, with little upgrades to the player kit being seen around the place. So busy working in the background on that, because that was pretty cool. As I said, good luck to everybody, and we'll end the show there and say catch us later. I have to update our banner at the top to say 2025. How come you didn't notice that? I've only just noticed it.
Yeah, no, that's all good, mate. Yeah, well, take it easy, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, and I'll get you to stay on the line as we go out, and then we'll have a quick chat afterwards. So until next time, everyone, see you later.